Welcome, I'm Meg Ryan. Wine, beer, and spirit producers are working hard to pour their well-honed skills into our glasses. Join us as we take a look into this spirited industry.
One thing is certain, Americans love to socialize. Enjoying a beer, a glass of wine, or a mixed beverage at a favorite meeting place is essential to our collective culture. However, few patrons realize the complexity of this massive industry and the lengths that need to be taken in order to ensure consistency and quality with every pour.
My background is in restaurants. Most people that go to a fine restaurant have an expectation of the type of steak, the piece of seafood, the type of pizza that they're getting. And they know that if it's not to their standard, they have the opportunity to return it or send it back or speak to the chef or the server and say, this is not quite what I wanted. The average consumer does not know that about beer. So if they're getting a beer and it's not perfect, they're just not going to order it again. They're not going to drink it again, or they'll move on to a competitor's product. The brewer is a culinarian. They understand all the flavors of all the ingredients that go into it. They make an excellent product. But when you go to a brewery, you are getting what the brewer intended for you to taste. When it goes through a supply chain where they make an excellent beer, it goes to the wholesaler that distributes the product, and then it gets to the retailer. There are lots of reasons that could affect what the brewer intended for it to finally be.
The three-tier system, you have supplier, then you have wholesaler, and then you have the retailer. In the draft beer segment, the suppliers make great beer, right? They ensure those kegs are to the brewmaster standards when it leaves the brewery. And then the wholesaler picks it up. They can maintain that supply chain. But where it gets lost was when that keg gets dropped off from the distributor, that if a system is not cleaned correctly, if the bartender doesn't know how to pour a beer, that's where it's delivered to the consumer in not the best fashion.
I've been in the hospitality industry all my life. Started as a waitress when I was 14 years old, and then owned my own bar, owned my own restaurant. From a owner's perspective, I really didn't understand draft beer. I didn't know much about the proper way to pour a draft beer. I didn't understand the gases, the CO2 or nitrogen, or the different aspects of beer to pour a proper beer.
Quality definitely is affects whether it's a craft brew or if it's a major brand. The quality issues are the same across the board, and the challenges are the same, and they affect every brew the same way.
Probably 15 years ago, as a restaurant operator, we noticed the inconsistent service level that affected my operations. And we realized we were not able to get consistent service. It was our wholesaler relationships that finally, we were talking one day, and they came to us and said, this is a problem we're having. Would you be interested in putting a business model together? We recognized that there was an opportunity to coalesce a very fragmented industry where the brewers are making a great beer, but you have inconsistent service, and the restaurant operators generally weren't trained on how to pour the perfect pint. They weren't equipped, the equipment wasn't right, the training wasn't there, and we felt we could bring all those standards to the industry.
We're glad you could join us today. I'm Meg Ryan. See you next time.